Montana has joined 11 other states that are suing to stop the Biden administration rule, requiring most hospitals to have their employees vaccinated against COVID-19. The lawsuit was filed Monday in federal court in Louisiana. Capital T's fixed bus routes in the city of Helena, they're back up and running after being suspended for the past 3 weeks due to a driver shortage. MTN's Jonathan Iberian spoke with the city and has more. LSU Northern football has improved year by year over head coach Andrew Rowland, and it felt like a matter of when, not if, the Lights would break their Frontier Conference losing streak. And on Saturday, they got the job done. Here's Dylan Foreman on a milestone win in Havre. A former Missoula area resident will serve jail time for his actions during the January 6th U.S. Capitol riot. When it comes to opening up an bank account, that is sometimes the first step that you need to take, or at least the first few steps you need to take is opening that banking account to even start the business. Now, a lot of banks won't allow dispensaries, or is that true, to even open an account? And how are we going to prevent or keep dispensaries accountable and not allowing money laundering?
Well, at least on the accountability side, I mean, look, like I said, I think our original implementation of medical left a lot to be desired.
It was nearly half a century ago that Bob Haseman touched the soil of Vietnam for the first time as a Marine. He remembers 2 lines were formed, one for those entering the war, while the others were going home.
Kind of making fun of the new guys that were coming in. You know, they were kind of laughing at us. But I suppose, if I remember right, there were some that maybe seemed a little shell-shocked. But basically, they were just overjoyed that they were leaving.
Years later, he went back to that same soil for answers about missing friends and closure. He did not go alone. His son was there as well, as Bok, a Vietnamese native who acted as a tour guide.
But really, walking to Russell was the best experience with my son, because he could really experience the terrain, the jungle.
Going back to Fire Base Russell, memories of battle and old friends emerged.
I also learned a great deal more about Portugal Severa and Randy and Bernie, a couple of other Marines that I served with.
Stories began to unfold and memories came back, an explosion that by luck he survived. As he was boarding a plane just moments before, a Kit Carson scout, which was a former Viet Cong soldier who surrendered to the American infantry units, giving them information, flicked a cigarette on a fuel dump.
And from that fire, the various charges that were set at all of the bunkers started to explode. And they were wired to go like one would explode, and then the next one, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. It would go around the hill. That would be the intention once we started that explosion.
While hundreds of Marines scattered, one Marine ran to the explosion.
Well, this is the picture of Portugal Silveira, who was the Marine that instead of running away, ran into his bunker and separated the det cord, and later was, just a few minutes later, was killed in a second explosion that mortally burned him.
The ultimate sacrifice. Haseman is calling for Silveira to receive the Navy and Marine Corps Medal.
I decided to put him in for the highest non-combat medal because the explosion was an accident. It wasn't an enemy attack. It was considered non-combat.
As the group boarded the bus, new memories created, as well as some old mysteries solved. For MTN News, I'm Phoenix O'Connor. As Shay Conley rolls out the dough to sell at the next farmer's market, she says she never thought she would be a business owner. Nevertheless, a baker.
I never picked baking. It kind of just found me, and it demanded that I take that as a career, and I just really ran with it.
While living in Seattle, she woke up at 4 a.m. learning all about baking muffins. When the pandemic shut everything down, she lost her job, found her way back to Helena, and didn't want to put down the rolling pin. So she started a blog, Dear Potato, a name that has a personal meaning.
Vegetarian, so I eat a lot of potatoes, and I joke that potatoes are my favorite food. And then it's also like a term of endearment, kind of, with like my mom and I, or like my husband, we're like, oh, you sweet little potato. The only problem is that a lot of people think that everything that I make is made out of potatoes, and it's like, that's not true at all.
While her baked goods are vegan and vegetarian, they may not always be low calorie. She says that's not the goal.
The goal is not healthy. The goal is for everything to still be like vibrant, really flavorful, colorful, weird, stuff like that.
However, you can find items that are gluten-free and other baked goods with a vegan twist, like using ingredients maybe not everyone has heard of.
Nutritional yeast is like an inactive dry yeast that maybe a lot of vegans know about, but maybe a lot of like newer vegans or vegetarians don't know about, and it's like a really good cheese supplement.
But don't worry, if you're not as adventurous with your palate, there's a little something for everyone.
Here are like kind of the safer items that like everybody will like, but also like you might want to try some matcha tea cookies, and those are like a love it or hate it thing, and that's really what my baking is. So
It's a Townsend landmark, American Legion Post 42.
I want people to understand it's an organization that respects veterans, helps veterans, and we're here for each other. So this is Main Street, North Side, Pine Street. This was the old hat shop, the bistro restaurant. It was a bank. And then we don't know what this building was, but this is what the American Legion was back in 1910. 1946, it became the hat shop burned down, but the next bistro building was now the Town Talk. The bank is still there, and then it became a theater. And you can see the top of the building there. And this is the Betsy Bar now. But in 1956, the Legion Club owned the top of what is now known as the Betsy.
It's been a year since the building was damaged by a winter storm. And now with $100,000 raised and the help of a loan, soon the building will become a home again, with photos from both the past and present.
Pictures from those that have served from Broadwater County down the Heritage Hall. And then you'll walk into this large, beautiful room, and then we'll keep the bar at the end.
Volunteers and contractors have been hard at work bringing back the charm of the century-old brick, as well as other fixtures.
We're hoping to preserve this portion of the archway and move it to the exterior where we're going to have that hallway.
The building will also be extended to what is now the outside to allow new features to be added.
We do have a basement, but we'll ramp it right here for handicap access because this building does not have rear ADA access, and we want to provide that for our members because many of them are in wheelchairs.
The bar is open to the public, allowing anyone to walk in as a stranger, but leave as a friend.
It's there. It's important. It's just there. We all understand. We've served. It's a different kind of feeling, a different kind of sisterhood and brotherhood.
The renovations inside the building should be completed by the end of this summer. As for the outside, well, that's going to be done too, but in the next phase. In Townsend, I'm Phoenix O'Connor.